Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And as if you couldn't tell, this time around, I want to take a look at this book here. This is Wonder Woman, number 227 from 1976, from, of course, DC Comics. And, of course, it's got this thrilling, but not the best, cover illustration by Ernie Chan. Ernie Chan was doing a lot. Of course, this time it was Chua. But Ernie Chan was doing a lot of covers for DC Comics at this time. This is not one of his best, I don't think. But some of them were really spiffy. And this story is written by Martin Pasco with art by Jose Delbo and Vince Colletta doing the inks. And Vinny Colletta, of course, ever present, doing a lot of stuff. He had a tendency to make everything look a little stiffer, but he was so good on stories with female leads because he had a knack for making the female figure and especially the female face extremely lovely. And of course, Jose Delbo is the penciler. He was on Wonder Woman for quite some time, 2 or maybe 3 years, I'm not sure, in the 70s. But he is probably more close, at least by me, more closely associated with a lot of work that he did for both Charlton and Gold Key Comics. He did some Western comics like what's his name, Geronimo Jones and Billy the Kid, and various other things and at Gold Key, various things such as some of the Buck Rogers in the 25th Century comics, among other things. So he was an accomplished penciler, not one to the kind that would artist who would have a large fan following, but he was a very good, solid artist and decent at visual storytelling. So here we go. So with this, and you see this. What's happening to Wonder Woman? She's come in the balcony. Looks like in a theater. Someone's on the stage singing. And who's this guy with the hammer? Is that Thor? No. That's not Thor. Is it Vulcan? Well, yeah, in a way, it's Hephaestus. Of course, Hephaestus and Vulcan are Greek and Roman versions of the same god. Hephaestus, of course, is the god of fire and has the divine forge, and he is basically the god of technology. And now I got a froggy in my throat. And here we go. We start off with, right at the Statue of Liberty. Wonder Woman swinging around on the Statue of Liberty and hitting this golden robot, smacking her good. And what's this? Flames. The very water itself is on fire. So this is part, the conclusion to a story that was probably started in the previous issue. And this robot here, it turns out that she's these robots who are collectively, they're all known as Hesione, and they are the creation of Hephaestus. It's that My World in Ashes is the title of this story. She swung around, she just busts the crap out of that robot, and then able to douse the flames, and the water itself is on fire. And it turns out, so she's able to douse the flames. And then she has to go meet Steve. And Steve? Yes, Steve. Here she is, briefly meeting up with Steve Howard. And you might say, who is Steve Howard? Steve Howard is Steve Trevor. Now in the here, this is Earth 1. It gets complicated, and I don't understand it all because I was just reading about it. Steve Trevor died or was killed. But Aphrodite brought Steve back in the body of Steve Howard. Just basically took over the body of Steve Howard. Now, that sounds kind of familiar. Yes, I think that is the story element that was used in the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. And he is in the body of Steve Howard, and eventually Steve Howard gets possession of his body. But in this time period, he's trying to, he knows about Diana and Diana is Wonder Woman and all this other stuff. So at this time, if I remember correctly, Diana Prince is working at the United Nations. Now she talks with Steve, and then she leaves because she's got to go to this rehearsal hall to pick up the tickets for that were comped by them for the singer Julie Gabriel, who's having practice right now. She gets there, talks with Julie and stuff. Now, this is another little thing. Julie Gabriel. Here she is, and she's practicing, gets the tickets. Julie Gabriel is based on Judy Garland. Yes, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, that Judy Garland. And they, in the context of the dialogue and stuff, they make references to, see, this is how you kind of know that it's Julie Gabriel. Julie Gabriel is Judy Garland, besides the J and the G in the name. It mentions, makes oblique references to her mental illness, depression, and former drug use and the like, which fits Judy Garland, and of course she even kind of looks like Judy Garland. Of course, Judy Garland was long dead by this time. Anyway, so she gets there, and then she's off again, and having to douse another fire and take out another robot. But this one, so because these fires are being set at the behest of Hephaestus by these robots, and they don't necessarily consume anything, and they're trying to figure out what the thing is. So instead of smashing the robot, she just puts it out of commission. She takes it back and does some tinkering. This is when she finds out that these robots are sentient, but they hate Hephaestus and the fact that they are slaves to Hephaestus and must do his bidding through programming. And this robot, and they're collectively known as Hesione. This is Hesione. And she tells Wonder Woman what's going on now that she is free to act of her own volition. That Hephaestus is not the real villain here, but Ares. He is being and he's got these little doodads that he has created, which is causing the fire, and the fire is generated by the emotions of the people around it. So he has put in the one of these gizmos in the concert hall that Julie's going to be performing that night, and which will erupt into flames. Then as Diana Prince, she goes to see Julie and try to convince her to call off the concert. She says, well, I can't do that. So she decides to reveal herself as Wonder Woman. And then she gets a story that finds that Hephaestus is working, even if somewhat under duress, for Ares, the god of war. And this gizmo, and that's why Hephaestus has created this gizmo, and so it can be used in war, which is, of course, wartime. Emotions are riding terribly over, but it realizes that these flames could sweep over the entire world and incredible damage, if not cause the extinction of humans. But I can't. It's too close to the concert. I can't cancel it, or people would be very upset and very angry, and that would set off that gizmo too. So she's got to. So said, well, then you've got to keep the emotions to a minimum. Don't sing your best. And she goes, oh, I can't do that. So she puts using her lasso, she puts a hypnotic suggestion on Julie to do an okay job, but not with all the emotion that she is known for, to keep the emotions of the audience down while she looks for the gizmo. So, but even Julie is upset about having to do that. But there's later at the concert with Steve and Diana at the concert. Julie Gabriel, she's singing and she's doing a fine job. But in spite of the hypnotic suggestion, the emotions are still riding very high with a lot of the people who make associations with the music and stuff. And Hephaestus is there in disguise. The fire breaks out. Whoosh! Ah, fire, fire! Of course, you know what happens when you yell fire in a crowded theater. Yep, stampede! Ah, so people are rushing for the exits. Caution, and Diana is hindered. Someone bumps into her, and she's lost her magic lasso, which is on her hip, but invisible. And she realizes that the lady who bumped into her rips off her face, and it's another one of the robots. So she punches her, puts her out of commission. But now she can't find her lasso, and she needs her lasso. So she sends a telepathic message to the other robot at her apartment, Hesione, who rushes to the concert hall. She becomes invisible, and in her invisible state, she can spot the invisible magic lasso. She finds it, and meanwhile, everything is a shambles. Julie's manager's trying to get her to leave. She slaps him, says, "I've got to do what I can to calm people down." So she goes out and she sings and sings and sings. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman has got her lasso, transforms back into her Wonder Woman costume, and then uses her magic lasso and its power of suggestion from that around the entire crowd and trying to calm them, giving them a post-hypnotic suggestion of calmness, which calms them down a bit, begins to while Julie is singing, and while she is the focus of the emotions. Meanwhile, Hephaestus pops out, and he goes to town smashing with his mallet, and it's hand to hand, Wonder Woman and Hephaestus. So the flames leave the now calm audience, and they rush to the very emotional Julie Gabriel, and then she is engulfed in the flames while Wonder Woman takes out Hephaestus and takes out the other robot, and he uses it to beat the crap out of Hephaestus, and then rushes to get all the people out of the building and captures Hephaestus. This is when they then discover that, the tragedy is Julie Gabriel was totally engulfed in the flames and the magical flames, and was burned to ash. And now both she and Steve and even Hesione are very saddened. But she sacrificed herself to help save the rest of the people. Oh, that was a very fine little story. I brought in a lot of the mythological aspects, the magical aspects, and I like the reference to Judy Garland, and finding out about Steve Howard and all that other stuff. So I want to thank you all for joining me. So please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this particular issue of Wonder Woman. I forgot to mention this. This is just shortly before the Wonder Woman title was following on with the at that time relatively new Wonder Woman TV series. When they for several issues they put Wonder Woman back into the World War II setting, and then after that series, she popped back, continued on with the modern day stories. It's hard to believe because it's been longer now, more time since from the time of this book to the present day has been more years than this time between World War II and the time that this book was published. Anyway, so that's all. I want to thank you, and remember, comics are art.